What if I told you that the floating mountains from the movie Avatar, those impossible peaks hovering in mid-air, actually exist in real life? And what if I told you they're just the beginning of China's most incredible secrets? Most people think they know China. They picture the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, maybe some crowded streets in Beijing. But here's the shocking truth. You've only seen about 1% of what this vast country actually offers. Behind the tourist crowds and beyond the guidebooks lies a China so spectacular, so unbelievable, that it will completely shatter everything you thought you knew. In this video, we're going to journey together through 10 of China's most mind-blowing destinations. We'll float through emerald rivers between impossible mountains, walk through cities that glow like something from the future, and discover ancient towns where time seems to have stopped centuries ago. These aren't just pretty places, these are locations that will make you question what's possible on our planet. From towering stone pillars that inspired Hollywood blockbusters to neon metropolises that make Tokyo look quiet, from rice terraces that stretch to the horizon like giant staircases to ice palaces that exist for just a few months each year. This is China, as you have never seen before. If you're ready to have your mind blown and see some of the most incredible footage ever captured, make sure to subscribe, because this journey is about to begin. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be planning your next adventure to the Middle Kingdom. Our first stop takes us to a place so otherworldly that James Cameron used it to create an alien planet. But how did these impossible towers of stone come to exist? Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to walk on an alien planet? Well, in the mountains of Hunan province, that fantasy becomes reality. Welcome to Zhangjiajie, the real-world inspiration for Pandora in James Cameron's Avatar. When the famous director first saw footage of these towering sandstone pillars, he knew he had found something extraordinary. These aren't just mountains, they're nature's skyscrapers, rising straight up from the earth like ancient stone giants frozen in time. Picture this. Over 3,000 quartzite sandstone pillars stretching as far as the eye can see, some reaching heights of over 200 meters. That's taller than a 60-story building. But these towers have been standing for 380 million years. The morning mist wraps around their peaks like silk scarves, creating an ethereal landscape that seems to float between heaven and earth. But Zhangjiajie isn't just about looking. It's about experiencing. The world's longest and highest glass bridge spans 430 meters across the canyon, offering visitors the chance to walk through the clouds. At 300 meters above ground, every step on the transparent floor is a heart-stopping reminder of just how high you are. For the truly adventurous, there's the Beilong elevator, a glass elevator built into the cliff face that rockets you 326 meters up in just 88 seconds. Local legend tells us these pillars were once the weapons of ancient gods, thrown down to earth during a celestial battle. Modern science explains they were formed by millions of years of erosion, but standing among them, the mythical explanation feels more believable. The indigenous Tujia people have called this land home for centuries, and their villages still dot the landscape between the stone towers. They believe each pillar has a spirit, watching over the land and its people. Whether you believe in spirits or not, there's something undeniably magical about this place. As the sun sets, the entire landscape transforms into a golden amphitheater. The stone pillars catch the dying light, glowing like massive candles against the darkening sky. It's a sight that has inspired poets, artists, and now filmmakers from around the world. But these floating mountains are just the beginning of our journey. Wait until you see what happens when ancient China meets the future in a city that didn't even exist 50 years ago. What happens when you give a small fishing village unlimited money and 40 years to build the future? You get Shenzhen, China's most mind-blowing urban transformation. In 1980, Shenzhen was home to just 30,000 people living in traditional fishing villages. Today, it's a megacity of over 17 million residents, boasting one of the most spectacular skylines on the planet. This isn't just urban development, this is time travel made visible. The transformation began when China designated Shenzhen as its first special economic zone. Foreign investment poured in, and literally overnight, rice paddies became construction sites. Skyscrapers sprouted like bamboo after rain, each one taller and more innovative than the last. Today, Shenzhen's skyline is a symphony of lights and glass. The Ping'an Finance Center pierces the clouds at 599 meters, making it one of the world's tallest buildings. But height is just the beginning. It's the technology that truly sets Shenzhen apart. This tower features the world's most advanced elevator system, whisking visitors to the top in just 53 seconds. When darkness falls, Shenzhen transforms into something from a sci-fi movie. The entire skyline becomes a massive LED canvas, with synchronized light shows that make Las Vegas look modest. Buildings communicate with each other through patterns of light, creating a digital language written across the sky. The colors shift and dance, reflecting off the Pearl River to create a mirror world of pure light. But Shenzhen isn't just beautiful, it's brilliant. This city produces more technology patents than anywhere else in China. The companies based here don't just make products, they literally shape the future. From smartphones to electric vehicles, from artificial intelligence to renewable energy, Shenzhen is where tomorrow is being built today. The speed of change here is almost incomprehensible. Buildings that are considered new in other cities would be considered ancient in Shenzhen. The city reinvents itself every few years, constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible in urban design and technology. Walking through Shenzhen at night feels like stepping into a video game. Neon signs in languages you might not recognize cast rainbow shadows on spotless streets. Futuristic buses glide silently on electric power, while delivery drones buzz overhead like mechanical fireflies. This is China's vision of the future, and it's already here. But our journey now takes us from the ultra-modern to the timelessly beautiful, where emerald waters wind between ancient limestone peaks. Have you ever seen water so clear it looks like liquid crystal? The Yulong River in Guilin doesn't just flow, it glides like silk through a landscape that seems painted by the gods themselves. This isn't just any river. This is China's most photogenic waterway, winding through karst mountains that have inspired artists and poets for over 1,000 years. The water is so transparent you can see every pebble on the riverbed, every fish swimming in its depths. The locals call it Little Li River, but that's like calling the Mona Lisa that nice painting. The traditional way to experience the Yulong River is on a bamboo raft, guided by local fishermen who have been navigating these waters for generations. As you drift downstream, the only sounds are the gentle splash of the pole against the water and the occasional call of a kingfisher diving for fish. Time seems to slow down, then stop altogether. The karst mountains rise directly from the riverbank, like ancient sentinels. These limestone peaks, carved by millions of years of wind and water, create a landscape so perfect it almost looks artificial. But this is pure nature, raw, unspoiled, and absolutely breathtaking. Along the riverbank, water buffalo cool themselves in the shallows, while farmers tend to rice paddies that have been cultivated for centuries. Traditional fishing boats with trained cormorants still work these waters, using techniques passed down through dozens of generations. It's a living museum where ancient traditions continue unchanged. The best time to experience the Yulong River is at sunrise, when mist rises from the warm water into the cool morning air. The entire landscape becomes ethereal, with mountains appearing and disappearing like ghosts in the fog. Photographers from around the world come here hoping to capture this magic, but no camera can truly do justice to the experience. During different seasons, the river reveals different personalities. In spring, wildflowers carpet the banks in brilliant colors. Summer brings lush green vegetation that turns the entire valley into a natural cathedral. Autumn paints the landscape in golds and reds, while winter creates a more austere but equally beautiful scene. Local villages along the river still maintain their traditional architecture: white walls, black tiles, and courtyards that have remained unchanged for centuries. The people here live in harmony with the river, understanding that they are merely temporary guardians of this ancient beauty. But speaking of ancient beauty, wait until you see what happens when nature creates art on an even grander scale. Limestone peaks that define an entire region. What if Mother Nature decided to become a sculptor? In Guilin, that's exactly what happened, creating a masterpiece that has inspired artists for over 2,000 years. Guilin's limestone karst landscape is like nowhere else on Earth. These aren't ordinary mountains, they're nature's monuments, rising dramatically from perfectly flat plains like giant green cones scattered across the landscape. The Chinese have a saying, "Guilin's scenery is the best under heaven." After seeing it yourself, you'll understand why they're not exaggerating. The Li River winds through this wonderland like a silver ribbon, reflecting the cone-shaped peaks in its calm waters. This creates a mirror world where reality and reflection blend together, making it impossible to tell where the mountains end and their watery twins begin. It's the kind of view that makes you question whether you're looking at a real landscape or a traditional Chinese painting come to life. These limestone towers were formed over 200 million years ago, when this entire region was underwater. As the sea receded and the land rose, wind and water carved these incredible formations from solid rock. Each peak is unique, with its own character and story. Locals have given them poetic names like Elephant Trunk Hill, where a massive rock formation looks exactly like an elephant drinking from the river. The famous Li River cruise from Guilin to Yangshuo takes you through the heart of this landscape. For 4 hours, you'll drift past an ever-changing gallery of natural sculptures. Water buffalo graze peacefully on riverbank meadows, while fishermen on bamboo rafts use trained cormorants to catch fish, a tradition that's over 1,000 years old. But Guilin isn't just beautiful during the day. As evening approaches, the limestone peaks transform into silhouettes against the setting sun. The entire landscape becomes a shadow play, with each mountain creating dramatic shapes against the golden sky. Local photographers know that the hour before sunset offers the most spectacular shots, when the soft light turns the Li River into liquid gold. In the city of Guilin itself, these karst peaks rise directly from urban neighborhoods. Imagine walking down a modern street and suddenly encountering a 300-meter-tall limestone mountain in the middle of the city. It's like living in a fairy tale where the natural and urban worlds exist in perfect harmony. The caves within these limestone mountains hide their own wonders. Reed Flute Cave, known as the Palace of Natural Arts, is filled with multicolored lighting that illuminates incredible rock formations. These underground chambers have been attracting visitors for over 1,200 years, with ancient inscriptions on the walls dating back to 792 AD. But our journey through China's natural wonders now takes us to human artistry on an equally impressive scale. Mountain landscapes carved entirely by hand. Can human beings create art that rivals nature itself? High in the mountains of Guangxi province, The answer is carved into the landscape in the form of the most spectacular rice terraces on Earth. Welcome to the Longji rice terraces, also known as the Dragon's Backbone terraces, where generations of farmers have transformed steep mountain slopes into giant staircases that stretch from valley floor to cloud level. This isn't just agriculture, this is landscape architecture on a massive scale, created entirely by hand over the course of 700 years. Picture this: narrow terraces following the natural contours of the mountains, creating concentric circles and flowing lines that seem to ripple across the hillsides like frozen waves. During planting season, each terrace becomes a mirror, reflecting the sky and clouds to create a landscape that shifts between earth and heaven with every step you take. The engineering behind these terraces is absolutely brilliant. Without modern machinery, the Zhuang and Yao minority peoples created an irrigation system so sophisticated that it still works perfectly today. Water flows from terrace to terrace through a network of channels, bamboo pipes, and stone spillways that distribute moisture evenly across the entire mountainside. Each season brings a completely different landscape. In spring, the terraces fill with water, creating thousands of mirrors that reflect the sky and surrounding peaks. It's like walking through a hall of mirrors, but instead of glass, you're surrounded by liquid silver. Summer transforms the terraces into a sea of emerald green as the rice plants grow tall and lush. But autumn is when the magic really happens. The rice turns golden yellow, and the entire mountainside becomes a cascade of warm colors that seem to glow from within. Harvest time brings the local communities together in celebrations that have continued unchanged for centuries. The sound of laughter and traditional songs echoes across the valleys as families work together to gather the crop. The villages nestled among these terraces are works of art themselves. Traditional wooden houses with curved roofs seem to grow naturally from the landscape. The local people, mainly ethnic minorities who still wear traditional clothing for festivals and special occasions, have maintained their customs and language despite centuries of change in the outside world. The best viewpoint is from the top of the mountain at sunrise. As the first light touches the terraces, the entire landscape comes alive with color and movement. Mist rises from the water-filled terraces, creating an ethereal atmosphere that makes the whole scene look like a dream. Modern China may be racing toward the future, but in places like Longji, time moves at the rhythm of the seasons. It's a reminder that sometimes the most advanced technology is simply human hands working in harmony with nature. But speaking of harmony between past and future, our next destination shows how ancient towns can become living works of art. What happens when you build a city that seems to float on water and then preserve it perfectly for over 300 years? You get Fenghuang, one of China's most magical ancient towns. Fenghuang, which means phoenix in Chinese, rises from the banks of the Lijiang River like something from a fairy tale. Traditional wooden houses on stilts extend directly over the water, their reflection creating a perfect mirror world below. This isn't just an ancient town. It's a living, breathing piece of history where every stone street and wooden beam tells a story. The architecture here is pure poetry in wood and stone. Houses built during the Ming and Qing dynasties still line the riverbank, their distinctive upturned eaves and intricate wooden carvings unchanged by centuries of floods, wars, and modernization. The town is built entirely of local materials, red sandstone, wood from nearby forests, and traditional tiles that have weathered to a perfect gray-blue. During the day, Fenghuang has a gentle, timeless quality. Local women wash clothes in the river, using methods their grandmothers taught them. Fishermen in traditional boats navigate between the stone pillars that support the ancient houses. The narrow alleyways echo with the sounds of daily life, children playing, merchants calling out their wares, and the gentle splash of oars on water. But when darkness falls, Fenghuang transforms completely. Thousands of red lanterns illuminate every house, bridge, and walkway. The entire town becomes a constellation of warm light, reflecting in the dark water. The effect is so spectacular that it looks more like a movie set than a real place where people actually live and work. The ancient bridges spanning the Yulong River are masterpieces of traditional engineering. Built without a single nail, they've withstood centuries of floods and typhoons, using nothing but perfectly fitted stones and traditional joinery techniques. The most famous, the Hong Bridge, offers the perfect viewpoint to appreciate the town's incredible architecture. Local minorities, including the Miao and Tujia peoples, still call Fenghuang home. Their traditional crafts, silver jewelry, hand-woven textiles, and intricate embroidery are still practiced using techniques passed down through generations. The night markets overflow with local specialties, from spicy river fish to traditional sweets that have been made here for centuries. What makes Fenghuang truly special is that it's not a museum, it's a living community. Families have lived in the same houses for generations. Children grow up playing on the same stone steps their parents and grandparents played on. It's a place where the past isn't preserved behind glass, it's woven into the fabric of daily life. The early morning hours offer the most peaceful experience. As mist rises from the river and the first light touches the ancient rooftops, Fenghuang seems to wake up slowly, like a beautiful dream becoming reality. But dreams can take many forms, and our next destination shows what happens when winter creates a wonderland that exists for just a few magical months each year. What if you could build entire cities out of ice and light? Every winter in Harbin, that impossible dream becomes spectacular reality. Welcome to the Harbin International Ice and Snow Sculpture Festival, the largest winter festival in the world and quite possibly the most magical place on Earth during the coldest months of the year. When temperatures drop to -30 degrees Celsius, most people head indoors. But in Harbin, winter is when the real magic begins. Picture this, entire buildings carved from blocks of ice, illuminated from within by colored lights that make them glow like giant jewels against the dark winter sky. We're not talking about small sculptures here. These are full-sized replicas of famous landmarks, complete palaces, and fantastical creatures, all carved from nothing but frozen water and artistic vision. The festival transforms Harbin into a frozen wonderland that defies belief. Ice sculptors from around the world gather here to create masterpieces that will last only as long as winter holds. There's something beautifully poetic about art that's designed to melt away. It makes every moment more precious, every visit unique. The Ice and Snow World theme park covers 750,000 square meters. That's larger than 100 football fields, filled entirely with ice sculptures. Visitors can slide down ice slides taller than 3-story buildings, explore ice mazes that sparkle like crystal cathedrals, and even drink cocktails served in glasses made of ice at bars carved entirely from frozen blocks. But Harbin's winter magic isn't just about the festival. The city itself is a fascinating blend of Chinese and Russian cultures, a legacy of the early 20th century when Russian refugees made this northern city their home. The architecture reflects this unique heritage. Onion domes and Orthodox churches stand alongside traditional Chinese buildings, creating a cultural landscape unlike anywhere else in China. The famous St. Sophia Cathedral, with its distinctive green dome and Byzantine architecture, looks even more magical when surrounded by snow and ice sculptures. Built in 1907 by Russian settlers, it now serves as a museum and remains one of the most photographed buildings in all of China. Local cuisine in Harbin reflects the harsh winters and multicultural heritage. Hot pot restaurants offer refuge from the cold, while Russian-influenced bakeries serve hearty breads and pastries. The local specialty, frozen pears served as dessert, might sound strange, but after a day in -30-degree weather, they're surprisingly refreshing. The Fenghuang River, which flows through the city, freezes solid during winter, creating a natural highway for ice sports and winter activities. Locals and visitors alike enjoy ice swimming. Yes, swimming in water that's barely above freezing, believing it brings good health and longevity. As spectacular as Harbin's ice wonderland is, it exists for only 3 short months each year. By April, all the magnificent sculptures have melted away, leaving only memories and photographs. It's a reminder that some of the most beautiful things in life are temporary, which makes them even more precious. Speaking of timeless beauty that has inspired artists for millennia, our next stop takes us to ancient kingdoms, where traditional architecture tells stories of dynasties long past. What happens when two ancient kingdoms preserve their heritage so perfectly that walking through them feels like time travel? Welcome to Lijiang Dali, sister cities in Yunnan province that offer a glimpse into China's royal past. Let's start with Lijiang, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that has remained virtually unchanged for over 800 years. The old town is a maze of cobblestone streets, traditional wooden houses, and flowing canals that carry mountain water through every neighborhood. This isn't a reconstruction or a theme park. This is the real thing, where the Naxi people have maintained their traditional way of life for centuries. The architecture in Lijiang is pure poetry in wood and stone. Houses built without a single nail using traditional joinery techniques have survived earthquakes, floods, and the passage of time. The distinctive upturned eaves and intricate wooden carvings tell stories of prosperity, protection, and harmony with nature. Each house is different, yet they all work together to create a perfectly balanced urban landscape. What makes Lijiang truly special is the Naxi people who still call it home. They've preserved their unique culture, including one of the world's last remaining pictographic writing systems. The Naxi script uses symbols and pictures instead of letters. It's like reading ancient stories written in drawings. Their traditional music, played on instruments that haven't changed in centuries, fills the ancient courtyards with haunting melodies. The canals that flow through Lijiang aren't just decorative. They're a sophisticated water management system that brings fresh mountain water to every corner of the old town. The sound of flowing water is constant, creating a natural soundtrack that makes the entire city feel alive and breathing. Just 3 hours south of Lijiang lies Dali, another ancient kingdom with its own incredible story. Dali was once the capital of the Nanzhao Kingdom, and later the Dali Kingdom, ruling over much of southwest China for centuries. Today, it's famous for its 3 pagodas, iconic towers that have stood guard over the region for over 1,000 years. The 3 pagodas of Chongsheng Temple are masterpieces of ancient engineering. The central pagoda stands 69 meters tall, built entirely without mortar, using an ingenious interlocking system that has allowed it to survive numerous earthquakes. When reflected in the pool that was built specifically for this purpose, the pagodas create one of China's most photographed scenes. Dali is also home to the Bai people, another ethnic minority with their own unique traditions. The Bai are master architects and craftsmen, famous for their distinctive white buildings with elaborate decorative elements. Their traditional markets are explosions of color and activity, filled with tie-dyed textiles, silverwork, and local delicacies that have been made the same way for generations. High Lake, which stretches alongside Dali, creates a stunning backdrop for both cities. This massive freshwater lake reflects the surrounding mountains and ancient architecture, creating postcard-perfect scenes at every turn. Traditional fishing boats still work the lake, using methods that haven't changed in centuries, while cycling paths along the shore offer modern visitors the perfect way to explore this timeless landscape. Both Lijiang and Dali face the challenge of balancing preservation with tourism. These ancient cities attract millions of visitors each year, drawn by their authentic beauty and rich cultural heritage. The key is experiencing them early in the morning or late in the evening, when the crowds thin out and you can truly feel the weight of history in every stone street and ancient courtyard. But our journey through China's wonders now takes us from human history to natural history, to mountains so sacred they've inspired 1,000 years of art and literature. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to walk above the clouds? On Mount Huangshan, that ethereal experience becomes breathtaking reality. Mount Huangshan, also known as the Yellow Mountain, isn't just a mountain. It's a natural temple where heaven and earth meet in the most spectacular way imaginable. This UNESCO World Heritage Site has inspired Chinese artists and poets for over 1,000 years, and once you see it for yourself, you'll understand why they considered it sacred. The mountain's most famous feature is its sea of clouds, a phenomenon where low-lying clouds fill the valleys between peaks, leaving only the mountain tops visible like islands floating in a white ocean. Standing on one of these peaks at sunrise, watching the golden light set the clouds on fire, is one of the most spiritual experiences nature can provide. But Mount Huangshan isn't just about clouds. The mountain is famous for its incredible granite peaks, each one carved by millions of years of wind and weather into fantastic shapes. Some look like sleeping dragons, others like ancient warriors standing guard. The most famous formations have poetic names like Monkey Watching the Sea and Flying Over Rock, and once you see them, the names make perfect sense. The ancient pine trees that grow from seemingly impossible cracks in the granite cliffs are living works of art. These trees, some over 1,000 years old, have been twisted and shaped by wind and weather into natural sculptures. The most famous, the welcoming guest pine, has become a symbol of hospitality throughout China. It's incredible that anything can survive and thrive in such harsh conditions. Yet these pines have created some of the most beautiful natural formations on Earth. Climbing Mount Huangshan is a pilgrimage that tests both body and spirit. The ancient stone steps, carved directly into the cliff faces, wind up impossibly steep slopes. There are over 60,000 steps to the summit, a journey that takes most people 6 to 8 hours of steady climbing. But every step is worth it for the views and the sense of accomplishment. For those less inclined to climb, cable cars provide access to the upper reaches of the mountain, but even the cable car ride is an adventure. You'll soar over deep valleys and granite spires, getting bird's-eye views of the landscape that inspired countless Chinese paintings. The hot springs at the base of Mount Huangshan have been attracting visitors for over 1,200 years. Chinese emperors and poets would come here to soak in the mineral-rich waters while contemplating the mountain's beauty. Today, these same springs offer weary climbers the perfect way to recover from their mountain adventure. What makes Mount Huangshan truly special is how it changes throughout the day and seasons. Morning brings the famous sea of clouds. Midday reveals the full drama of the granite peaks and ancient pines. Evening creates silhouettes and shadows that transform the entire landscape into a natural theater. Winter brings snow that turns the mountain into a black and white masterpiece. The mountain has inspired more Chinese paintings than any other landscape. Traditional Chinese landscape painting, with its emphasis on mountains, clouds, and twisted pine trees, is essentially an artistic interpretation of Mount Huangshan. Walking through this landscape is like stepping inside a classical Chinese painting. But our final destination shows that China's ancient beauty isn't limited to natural wonders. Sometimes the most spectacular sights are created when humans work in perfect harmony with nature. What happens when a town is built entirely on water and then preserved perfectly for 1300 years? You get Wuzhen, China's most beautiful water town, and a living museum of traditional Chinese life. Wuzhen is often called the Venice of the East, but that comparison doesn't do it justice. This is pure poetry, a place where ancient Chinese architecture reflects in still canals, where stone bridges connect neighborhoods unchanged for centuries, and where traditional life continues along waterways that have been the town's highways for over a millennium. The town is built entirely around its canal system. Traditional whitewashed buildings with black tile roofs line both sides of the waterways, their wooden balconies extending over the water like ancient apartment buildings designed for boat access. The reflection creates a perfect mirror world, where reality and reflection blend seamlessly together. The bridges of Wuzhen are masterpieces of traditional engineering. Each one is different. Some are simple stone arches, others are covered walkways with traditional roofs. Walking across these ancient spans, watching traditional boats glide silently beneath you, feels like stepping back in time. Traditional life here revolves around water. Local residents still use wooden boats for daily transportation, shopping, and socializing. Watching an elderly woman rowing to market or fishermen casting nets from traditional craft reminds you this isn't just a tourist attraction, it's a living community where water-based traditions continue unbroken. The architecture represents the pinnacle of traditional Chinese design. Buildings demonstrate perfect harmony between function and beauty. Every element serves a purpose while contributing to the overall aesthetic. These wooden structures, built without nails using traditional joinery techniques, have survived floods, typhoons, and centuries of use. At night, this town transforms into something magical. Red lanterns illuminate every bridge, building, and walkway. The warm light reflects in dark water, creating a constellation of colors that dance with every gentle ripple. The effect attracts photographers from around the world, all trying to capture this illuminated wonderland. The narrow alleyways connecting waterfront buildings are filled with traditional workshops where craftspeople practice ancient arts. You can watch silk being woven on looms unchanged for centuries, observe woodcarvers creating intricate decorations, and see traditional snacks made using recipes passed down through generations. The best time to experience Wuzhen is early morning, when mist rises from the canals and first light illuminates the ancient buildings. The town awakens slowly, with gentle sounds of boats on water and quiet conversations of early risers. It's a peaceful, almost meditative experience, connecting you directly to centuries of traditional Chinese life. What makes Wuzhen special isn't just its beauty, it's the feeling that this is how life should be lived, slowly, peacefully, in harmony with both human community and natural environment. In our fast-paced modern world, places like Wuzhen remind us that sometimes the old ways were better ways. From the floating mountains of Avatar to the ancient canals of Wuzhen, we've journeyed through 10 incredible destinations that showcase China's unbelievable diversity. We've seen landscapes that inspired Hollywood blockbusters, cities that look like they're from the future, and ancient towns where time seems to have stopped centuries ago. This is China as you've never seen it before, Not the crowded tourist sites or the stereotypes from movies, but the real China in all its spectacular variety. A country where 5,000 years of history meets cutting-edge technology, where ancient traditions coexist with futuristic cities, where natural wonders rival anything else on our planet. From Shenzhen's neon metropolis rising from fishing villages to Fenghuang's traditional houses floating on ancient rivers, from Mount Huangshan's sacred peaks piercing seas of clouds to Harbin's magical ice palaces that exist for just a few precious months each year, China offers experiences that will change how you see the world. These aren't just pretty places to visit. They're reminders of what human beings can achieve when we work in harmony with nature, when we preserve our heritage while embracing the future, when we create beauty that lasts for centuries or moments with equal passion. But this is just the beginning. China has thousands more incredible destinations waiting to be explored. Hidden temples in impossible locations, underground cities carved from solid rock, modern marvels that haven't been built anywhere else on Earth. If you've enjoyed this journey through China's hidden wonders, make sure to subscribe, because there are much more explorations to come. What surprised you most about these Chinese destinations? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button if this video changed how you think about China. The world is full of incredible places just waiting to be discovered, and we're going to explore them all together. See you next time. Keep exploring, keep wondering, and never stop being amazed by our incredible planet.